Welcome to the Coursera first annual barbecue. We're going to do this every year. Thousands of students, professors, and co-founders all come together to change the world of education.
Very, very valuable to me.
Daphne and I wanted to say welcome to the Coursera Meetup BBQ. For those of us that have been recording videos, putting courses online, as one of the instructors, I guess, I'm always constantly amazed that, so many of you with busy lives, with jobs, family, with week after week come back to the website to watch the videos and do the homeworks, which I know is very time consuming, and I guess as an instructor, I've always been constantly amazed that you would actually do that.
So Andrew and I have been educated and passionate about education as part of our role as Stanford instructors, and we've been working on online education at Stanford for probably about 4 years, each of us, starting out from different directions. So my interest in this came about because I realized at some point that the kind of education that we offer our students in our Stanford classrooms is really limited because the lecture format dates back to a time 300 years ago when there was one copy of the textbook, and the instructor needed to stand there in front of the class and read the textbook to the students because that was the only way of conveying that information. And it seemed like we should be doing better than having Andrew and me or anybody else walking into the classroom, teaching the same lecture that we've taught for 15 years, telling the same jokes at the same time. And maybe we could do better. And that's where we started to think about how one can offer this content in a more engaging format by using video with a lot of interaction, because students don't just learn by watching videos, but also by engaging with the material, by engaging with each other, and started to develop a lot of the pedagogical ideas that eventually made their way into the Coursera project. Andrew came at it from a somewhat different direction.
Right, so I guess I've been working on free online education for many years, started a project at Stanford called Stanford Engineering Everywhere that 4 or 5 years ago started to put videos online. But I think, as Daphne said, more recently we realized that students learn best not by passively listening, but by practicing with the material and thinking through the material. And so it was last fall that what we're doing for free online education kind of culminated in the free online offerings out of Stanford, where there were these courses with, not just lectures, but also homeworks. And those of you that took the courses you probably don't know this, but when we were looking at the amount of traffic on our website, it turns out that every time there's a homework deadline, 24 hours before the web traffic. It goes to show, Daphne likes to use the phrase, this proves that procrastination is a global phenomenon. And I think, put together these ideas that of real courses with deadlines, homeworks, a community, and where students, upon completing these public courses, could get like a piece of paper or certificate or similar from the universities, put in your resume to get a better job. And then it was based on that, seeing the success of these classes, that Daphne and I were asking ourselves, what's the best way to serve students, that we realized that the best way forward would be to take the technology that we had developed and to offer it to other universities. We wound up taking this project out of Stanford, setting up a social entrepreneurship company, Coursera. And I guess one of the two things I'm proud of, I guess, one is the breadth of university partnerships, which I think has translated to the growth of enrollments. So we now have 900,000 students taking these different classes. And another thing that maybe I'm proud of is I think university education is very broad. So today we have courses in the humanities, the social sciences, the basic sciences, in business, finance. We have even a class on the care and feeding of horses. And I think I just love the idea that if anyone wakes up tomorrow morning and wants to sign up for a Stanford class or a Princeton class, anyone can now do so for free.
So I think the vision for us going forward is that this amazing education that these institutions that we're fortunate enough to work with, that's currently only been available to a tiny handful of people, will now be available to anyone around the world. And so high quality education will move from being something that is a privilege of the few to being a basic human right. And we think that this is going to be a way that will change the world, because anyone around the world that has the motivation and the skills will be able to get an education. And whether that's just to expand their minds or to make a better life for themselves or their communities, it's going to be something that changes the world.